I can't kill dragons.
I have preserved myself in amber, and I am prepared, should you guys decide, to watch in real time the How to Train Your Dragon live action trailer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did
wow.
you see that?
Okay.
I have not watched it yet.
Okay.
I have seen it. Yeah.
I am willing to watch that because, ain't no spoilers there.
Yeah, there's no spoilers at all.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
I, David Chen, try to avoid trailers. I have no concerns about trailers of movies that I'm confident I'm never going to watch.
Like
that's right.
Terrible.
Me too.
That's why I
Jeff,
recommended it.
Me too.
Yeah.
But is that true for Jeff? Because I feel like sometimes, Jeff, there's been movies I'm like, there's no way Jeff's going to watch this, and even still you will resist. But I guess you've softened.
I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
Honestly, it's a relief when I know that I'm not going to see the movie because I don't have to avoid the trailer. So yes, I have no problem watching a trailer of a movie I have no interest or desire to see. I will watch a trailer for a bad movie that I will avoid any day of the week.
And those can often be fun.
Yes.
To be honest. Yeah.
Happy to do that.
All right. Awesome. Well, maybe we'll make that a regular thing then, or at least listening to the trailer might be a fun thing on the After Dark.
When you carry this axe, you carry all of us with you.
They sure look like Vikings.
Dad, I can't kill dragons.
But you will. I'm a Viking. I'm a Viking!
It's the same exact toothless. It's the same exact toothless.
It's okay. I won't hurt you.
Shot for shot. Where's Jay Baruchel in all of this? Is he like, I can still do this? I still look young.
We can't de-age Jay Baruchel for this. Come on.
I think the experience of watching this trailer was very odd. Because
was it like nostalgia? Is like exactly what you've seen before, but in live action?
No. Somebody on Blue Sky replied to me, and I'm sorry I don't remember who this was, but they called it the reverse Uncanny Valley effect.
Yes,
and I think that is great because basically the human looks real. And everything around them looks fake. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like,
well, that's because that's the case.
No, I know, but I'm saying like it's odd. Like because basically they kept Toothless exactly the same. Like they didn't.
I don't think that's the problem. Honestly, but go ahead, keep going.
Well, I'll finish. I'll finish, and then I want to hear. But I think what's odd is they kept Toothless the same. The world design looks very similar. The framing looks very similar. So you're it's like watching an animated film almost, and then like a human superimposed on top of it. Basically, is kind of like what it feels like because we're already super familiar with the How to Train Your Dragon look and the iconic shots, and then it's basically those things, but an actual human in them. It's very odd. Jeff, go ahead. What were you going to say?
This is the first time watching this, and I had heard all of the hubbub around it. There's a lot of negativity around the trailer, so I expected to hate it instantly. I did not hate it instantly. The first, 15 seconds of the trailer, I was like, I think this kind of looks awesome. And then we have the stuff with Toothless and what's his name?
Hiccup.
What's his name? Hiccup. Thank you. And that looks like a fan-made YouTube
like
thing.
A fan film. Yeah.
Yes, it looks like a fan film. And the reason I think it looks like a fan film is because it looks like cosplay for Hiccup, right?
Right.
I honestly don't think the Toothless is the problem. I don't know what the solution is. Do you make Toothless look like a dragon out of Game of Thrones? Do you make Toothless look? I think that's kind of it's a very difficult solution there because you can't. I feel like if it had looked like some sort of realistic dragon from other medium.
Yeah. It would take away from the magic of
It doesn't
the
have to be
original.
realistic, but like there's a chance there to be like, well, you've seen Toothless in CG. What if we
Right.
made a practical Toothless? Like what if
What
we
if
did like
the
a cool
Simpsons
practical
were
hybrid?
real life
Yeah.
humans? You know, like there's some kind of like
Mhm.
AI has obviously done that. But I think somebody on my TikTok, I posted my reaction to this trailer on TikTok, and somebody pointed out that there's a new like theme park land. I think it's Universal. I'm not
Mhm,
sure,
mhm.
based off of How to Train Your Dragon, and that maybe they wanted to keep Toothless the same for consistency's sake. Because
You got to sell those toys. You got to
yeah,
sell
you gotta
those
sell,
cute
'cause
dolls.
it would be
I have one
weird
right
if
behind
there was
me.
a different design of Toothless, and then you go to the theme park, you're like, that's not the Toothless
I
from
mean,
the
I
movie.
kind
You know,
of, that's a cynical take.
absolutely. The
but
whole
also,
project
like,
feels cynical to me.
well,
Yeah.
yes, but
Yeah.
but also, like, I kind of don't disagree with that. Like, Toothless
Yeah,
is an
yeah.
iconic look,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it would be almost like changing, Lilo and Stitch into something. You know, it's or I guess
It'd be like giving
Stitch
Sonic
from-
the Hedgehog human teeth. You don't want that.
Right.
By the way, Lilo and Stitch is going to be the next live action
Yes.
remake. So
By the
and
we'll
I'm
same
see.
sure that
Yeah.
Stitch is the creature,
Yeah.
right? Not Lilo.
Yeah.
Stitch is going to look like Stitch, right? Because that's what Stitch looks like.
And Dean DeBlois,
Right.
the director of Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon, all comes around. Yeah.
I genuinely don't think that Toothless is the problem.
I agree. I agree.
I think that the problem is Hiccup more than anything else.
Well, I'm going to put this out there too, that like in the original movie How to Train Your Dragon, the animated, like everyone's physical features are like really exaggerated,
yeah.
and it felt like they tried to do that
Yes.
with
They did
the
some nose
humans.
stuff with him, right?
They
Like
did
his
some-
nose is bulbous.
What is cool is Gerard Butler is playing the same character in the
That is
movie as
cool.
well. That's kind of cool.
That's what's
But
going to
I'm not
happen
doing
with the
anything.
That's
Yeah.
what's
The
going to
same
happen.
bar they found him in the first time. Yeah.
He's
The Rock
Gerard
is
Butler's
gonna-
in between playing two shoots. You know,
Yeah.
he can make the How to Train Your Dragon movie. But
But they're doing that with the Moana live action. With the Rock is going to
Right.
play.
That's right. Yeah. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see like a character play the same character in animated
Yeah.
form as in real life.
Yeah.
That's like just an interesting dramatic exercise you don't often
Yeah.
see. But they
Yeah.
made him kind of an in between version
Mhm.
of Gerard Butler and then his character from the movie.
I'm going to put this
like,
out there.
physically looks wise is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. No,
And it
stuff
just
like-
looks weird in my opinion. You know,
I never really liked the human designs in How to Train Your Dragon. I think
Hmm.
I think Hiccup looks generic in the original film. I think they kind of did more with him over time, but the shape of his face, the look of the characters, I've seen plenty of animated films, and I like it when lead characters look more distinctive, and they never quite did that with Hiccup. Or maybe later on he got more stuff as he kind of matured. This kid in the live action, it's the same kind of problem for me. It's just kind of like I'm not really seeing much there. So
I think this is a pervasive problem with the whole animated to live action phenomenon that's happening.
agreed.
We saw it with Aladdin, and we saw it with even what was the last one that we just watched? There was another one. Anyway, but like Aladdin has a
Little
very
Mermaid.
Little
Mhm.
Mermaid. Thank you.
Yep.
There's like they have this very iconic look to them, and so the question is like, what are we doing here, right?
Mhm.
What's the goal? Are we trying to create a cosplayed version of things? Because that's kind of what they did with Aladdin, and that's kind of what they did with Little Mermaid. Or are we trying to say like, what if this fairy tale happened in real life?
Mhm.
Which doesn't seem to be the exercise, right?
No.
Correct.
It doesn't seem to be
Correct.
like we're making Mary Poppins or Oliver Twist or something where it's like
Yeah.
things are fantastical-ish, but it's we're supposed to believe this could happen in real life.
I want to shout
doesn't
out
seem to be
David Lowery's Pete's Dragon live action remake.
Yeah.
He's very
Mm.
good. And I think
Mm.
that's one example where they took a
Yeah.
movie that was beloved, maybe not at the level of A Little Mermaid, but translated well, turned
But it
into a
already
really
had
good
real people
human
in it.
drama. You had real people in it before. So I mean, yeah, you could do that pretty easily, but I also think that movie vibe wise, I think Lowery's a great storyteller. And the thing is like Dean DeBlois, like he knows this franchise, he knows these characters, so I hope he can do something more with it than recreate the scenes we've seen.
I just think that the ask
Yeah.
was different there. It was like we
Yeah,
had a
yeah.
live action thing with a
Yep.
2-dimensional drawn dragon. Now let's
Right.
make it a three-dimensional CG dragon.
Okay, but aesthetically and also tonally, I think the Peach Dragon is also quite different than the original, right?
That's
so
true.
Like,
That's not
so
true.
it's
That's
not just
wrong.
like, oh,
Yeah.
there's live action and there's still live action
No,
in the new one.
it's
Like,
a
quite a
justifiable
reimagining,
change.
I would say.
Yeah.
And therefore, I would say that like it's a good example of this kind of thing. But I would agree with you, Jeff, that all of these movies really just feel like a marketing exercise. It feels
Yes.
like, hey, the thing that you loved now in POG form, like now watch it in live
Yes.
action format.
Well, that's
right?
the trailer itself, the teaser that we watched itself is communicating by the fact that it's shot for shot that there's no changes here.
Right.
It's not a
Absolutely.
reimagining. This
Yep.
is not a reimagining. It
Yep.
is the same imagining with different technology,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And I think that in one sense, it's like, oh, it's such a classic that we wouldn't want to change anything. We just want to show it to you with real people instead of animation. It's like, well, but then why? Maybe the reimagining is what we're missing. Maybe like
Mhm.
think about it and think about how you would shoot it if it was a live action movie instead of taking the original as gospel and just, swapping out elements.
This is a real Avatar situation too, like the way they translate Avatar to live action in some cases.
Oh,
and here's the thing.
Last Airbender.
Yeah. Last Airbender. We loved How to Train Your Dragon. The sequels,
Yeah.
I think we're a little more mixed on, but I don't think that movie was not as widely beloved as like a typical Disney property. So DreamWorks is kind of here, like we got this franchise that we could easily redo in a way that may get a new audience and maybe bring in old fans. And I can see the business justification of doing it. I hope they do something more than a slavish recreation of the first.
It looks like they
doesn't feel like
just
it.
did that.
I would say you are maybe slightly underselling how beloved the series is, Devendra. It did make over $1 billion.
That's
worldwide.
good. That's good.
So it's like the movies all did quite well.
Yeah.
Every single movie made, I think, over $500 million, and there's been 3 of them.
I mean, I'm talking,
or
I
around
was
$500
just
million. Sorry.
talking to kids, like kids in my
Yeah.
family and kids in my vicinity. That was the thing I had to keep turning them on to. It was not a thing like people weren't jumping on it like all the Disney stuff, But that's my vicinity.
I had a thought that you guys might not be willing to go with me on.
Mm-hmm.
But the thought experiment that just occurred to me right now is if there had been a animated version of The Wizard of Oz, and then we got The Wizard of Oz that we all know,
Mm-hmm.
I bet it would feel like this.
Interesting. Yeah.
Maybe.
Because it's kind of goofy and like the costumes are kind of over the top, and I don't know. I think the Wizard of Oz is beloved, and they would made all those decisions because they were shooting a live action thing. But like Dorothy doesn't look like a little kid. You know what I mean? Like it feels like it could have come off had we had first known it as an animated movie.
Yeah. That's not a bad one, Jeff. That's not a bad one. One of the odd things about this whole era of recreations is also like for many of these like modern ones, they've kept the songs too.
Yeah.
Even when it doesn't make sense. So like in The Little Mermaid, you remember how there was like an Under the Sea and they talk about like all the animals playing the instruments, but none of the animals are playing any instruments. Like, and it's just like,
well,
it just literally feels like they're just like, hey, all the stuff you loved now in different form, but like even if it doesn't make sense, we're still going to do it that way.
For sure.
It's like,
hey,
okay.
at least we can see the people and the characters in this movie, because what I remember from Little Mermaids, the lighting was so dark, couldn't even see anything under the sea. It was just like the too dark lighting applied to almost everything these days.
Yeah.
It's a bummer because we, like you said, Devendra, we all three of us really, really love How to Train Your Dragon.
It was our theme song forever,
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's
I'm
cool
going
to
to
hear
say
the theme
this.
song. Yeah,
I'm going to say this. This whole like the teaser trailer had a like reorchestrated like a actual original music for the trailer. So there's actual original,
we would know. Trust us. Yes.
If that is not like a clip from the trailer, they wrote that. Somebody, John Powell or someone else, wrote that for the trailer. And if the net positive cultural impact of this How to Train Your Dragon remake is we get like 3 to 4 minutes of new, like net new How to Train Your Dragon themed music. It will have been worth the $200 million I spent on this thing. Because there's going to be another trailer, and I guarantee you that will also have the theme song in a different format, maybe sung by Disturbed. And
Please don't.
And that will be awesome. That'll be awesome. So I loved hearing the theme song again. I'm really curious if they're going to do anything different with the music in the final film, or if John Powell is going to pull a Ramin Djawadi for a House of the Dragon. He's just going to be like, "Hey, John, you just sent us the CD for the original How to Train Your Dragon." And he's like, "I already made the perfect.
I upscaled it to.
I already made the perfect score the first time around."
it's just the same CD crossed out, and then like new Train Your Dragon songs.
He just puts live action in parentheses next to the CD.
He puts that little like carrot symbol, and then writes live action above it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this. Around the Bourne Identity soundtrack, John Paul did some like remixes of the Bourne Identity theme. We need those remixes. Got to get the electronic remixes of the How to Train Your Dragon score. Yeah, let's keep it going. Keep it going.
So here's my question for you guys about this: Is this movie a hit?
I hope so.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's not going to be okay. So how much did Little Mermaid make?
A lot.
Not as much as we thought it would.
Well,
but it made 300 domestic and
that's a hit.
570 worldwide. Yeah, that's very good. So I would say it makes slightly less than that. That's my guess. It's going to make probably 200 domestic, 450 worldwide. That's my guess.
So that'll make it worth it.
Still
hopefully.
very, very good. But
I love the top comment on the YouTube for the trailer, by the way, by B Money Rules, is an animated version of this would be sick.
Yeah,
that's so good.
Thank you so much for watching this video of the Filmcast. Check out these other videos that we have available, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get other videos from us in the future.
You can also go to thefilmcast.com to catch all of our audio podcast versions of all of our episodes.
And support this podcast at patreon.com/filmpodcast, where you can sign up for ad-free episodes and exclusive After Darks.
Thanks so much to everyone who makes the Filmcast possible.